Hey, good to see you, man. Steve, hey. Oh, all right. Hey, Ulyana, how you doing?
Hi, Nick. I'm doing great. How are you?
Dude, I can't complain about a thing. It is the weekend. We made it. And this is right after this, I'm going out on a date with my wife. We're gonna go rock climbing, so only having one of these today. It's one of these
Okay.
today during this call, but
That's
otherwise I
exciting.
might not
Yeah,
not
that's
survive rock climb.
exciting. You're alone
Yeah.
today?
How you doing? No, Paul's gonna join me here in a sec. We had somebody unexpectedly stop by the office and wanted to say hey, and so he's just kind of saying goodbye. It's actually a property manager who we do a lot of work with on the
Oh,
maintenance side, and so the two of us were just hanging out with him for a little bit.
okay. Cool.
But
Cool.
what what's going on in your world? What's going on in your side?
Um, so I'm actively looking at properties, reviewing deals, and I already have a good feel of what I'm looking for.
Okay,
So I'm considering turnkey, BRRRR, or fix and flip, whatever I can find. I'm currently looking only on MLS. I
those are
have my
three
agent.
very different things.
Yeah.
Like let's take a quick break. Those are three very very different strategies. Specific, I mean the turnkey. Hey, I'm not looking to do any type of rehab. I'm willing to stink 25% down payment. The BRRRR strategy. Hey, I'm looking to do some type of value add, but it's got to make sense as a rental on the back end. Versus a flip. Flip and BRRRR have similarities, but on the flip side, you're looking more for the change in valuation, less concerned with the rental in the grand scheme of things. I'm generally an advocate of, hey, if you're going to do the BRRRR strategy, make sure it makes sense as a flip, and vice versa. If you're going to do a flip strategy, make sure it's something that you're
Mhm.
comfortable to hold on to for the long term, because you may end up doing that. I ended up doing it on some of the stuff that I bought at the end of 2022 when the market kind of died down for a little bit. And so I ended up just holding a lot of those things. So you want to make sure you
Yeah.
have backup strategies. But that said, wildly different strategies, wildly different things you're looking at, wildly different people that you're going to be partnering with, and different agents who are going to bring those kinds of deals to you. Agents, or not property managers, uh, uh, direct to seller marketers, wholesalers, stuff like that.
So I decided not to deal with the wholesalers at this time because I want inspection and I want my agent to take a look at the area, and like have an okay on the area from her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's different, but I'm also considering like turnkey or like some minor rehab so it can just make it rent ready and sticking 20% into it. Um, because it's hard to find a good deal like to do BRRRR so that you're 75% all in. Um, 75% of
Well,
ARB all
you need to
in.
be 75% all in for that to be successful. If you do a turnkey, let's do a quick analysis together. Um, if you were to go buy a turnkey and it's a $200,000 house, if you were to go, let's assume your note on that is going to be a 25% down note, you're going to have to come up with $50,000. Conversely, if you were to decide, hey, I'm going to do a BRRRR instead, and your final product is that identical $200,000 house, you buy it for $100,000. It needs $65,000 worth of work to get to that point, but it's going to be worth 200. You're all into it for 165. You go get a loan for that for 25% or 20. Oh no! Every time it does this, it freezes my camera. I'll fix that here in a sec. But the if you were to do the 25% down situation there, um, you would be $50,000 out of pocket versus this situation, you're only $35,000 out of pocket. So
Yeah.
you do come out ahead in that scenario, even when you are, not able to get all of your capital back out.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, but like all of the properties I'm looking at, they do need some, some sort of work. Um, and also, so for this call, I actually wanted to review with you because I have an inspection report for a property and also have pictures, and property looks turnkey on the pictures, but on the inspection report, it looks horrible. So I just wanted to get your feedback. Like, I'm not making an
Yeah,
offer on that yet, but I
yeah.
just wanted to review.
Here's what I'll tell you. Agents and wholesalers and contractors are the best at they are the best photographers in the entire world. I want one of them to do my headshot one of these days because I'm gonna look fantastic. So yeah, let's go over that. You actually have Steve here. Steve obviously is really good at tearing houses apart. I think that's fantastic. Got Anastasia here too, who she's seen an inspection report or two in her day.
Yes, I
So yeah,
have.
you've got a
And
nice
I've
group
been on
there.
both end, the buyer then and the seller then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, why don't you pull it up?
Okay, I'll pull it up. Do you guys usually do like a round of introductions? Because I joined these calls and I just have no idea like what's everybody's background. I don't know if you practice to do
Yeah, do
that.
you want to? Yeah, Steve, do you want to do a quick intro of yourself there, and then Anastasia, why don't you do the same? Oh, you're muted, buddy. You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. You're
Yep.
good.
Okay. So I have a third party real estate consulting firm that I started up, and basically I go around and don't do full inspections. I do just generalized. I walk through the properties, I do underwrite them pretty much, and I'll pick apart the property and I'll walk through it and give videos and pictures and my thoughts and, what possible rehab's going to be, not breakdown of a full rehab, but is it a $50,000 to $60,000 rehab? What your rent ranges are going to be? What type of area it's going to be. I'll walk the street. I'll walk up and down the street if it's a city street. If it's just a typical vinyl village type of thing, that probably won't walk the street because they're pretty typical. So I have 20 years of doing this, everything from flips to wholesale deals to landlording. You name it. I've done it at one time or another. A jack of all trades, master of none. Uh, and that kind of gives me a perspective on a lot of different things. So I know what it's like to watch the out of state people go into these properties and get burned because I've heard phone calls from a lot of them. And that's kind of what got me going on this was I was just getting tired of watching people get burned. And I do this for a fee base and it helps and it keeps you from spending $200,000 when you can spend $200 on a report from me, and it'll give you pretty much what you're going to be looking for the most part. And if you really want to get a full blown inspection, which I always advise, do it if you feel like you can move forward with it. And I will desecrate every property. Okay, it doesn't mean it's a bad deal. It just means that I'm going to make things clear to you so you understand. You know, like there's a wall, there's a crack in the wall. Does that mean it's a devastating blow to the property? No, it could be a very simple fix, and it may only cost $1,000 to fix it. There's just small things that people get all freaked out about that you need to know about. Sometimes there's asbestos. And if the asbestos tape is wrapped around the ventilation and it's solid and complete and not torn, nothing to worry about. Encapsulate it. Things like that. Is there mold? Does that mean you have to burn down the house? No. I point out things like that. I point out awkward flooring. When you walk in, is it uneven? How old is the house? Is it if it's a 1900 build house? Yeah, you're going to have awkward floors. That's just part of the game. Roofs, AC units, water heaters, things like that. I look at everything just as if I'm buying the house myself. So you
Yeah.
get my 20 years and a report back to you. And that's what I offer. So that's kind of my background.
Yeah,
That's
and
amazing.
I
Thank you
love
for
working.
sharing that.
Yeah, I love working with Steve because he's the closest thing to an inspector without being an inspector, but his incentive structures are different. An inspector, their incentive structure is to not get sued. They are licensed in all of these situations when they walk in there, and so if they think that there's a 1% chance that something they see might be mold, they're going to say possible or organic substance, potential mold. Please get it checked out by a licensed contractor. Oh, hey, there's a little bit of settling in the foundation. Like, this is happened again, damn it. So the they're gonna call out everything where somebody like Steve gives you a little bit more of a grounded perspective. That's the best way I can describe it.
And I was literally just at a CE for my real estate license, and an inspector was there and we were talking back and forth. Inspectors don't do it on purpose. They do it to protect their license because that's what they have to do. You know, do they
Mhm.
realize it's mold? Yes, they know it's mold, but if they said that it's actual mold without testing it, they can get in a lot of trouble. My reports are based on an opinion. It's strictly an opinion. It's my 20 years of doing this. is my opinion. So I can say things that they may not be able to say. So if I see mold, I can say, oh, that's absolutely mold. I'm going to say, no, go get it tested. I'll tell you to go get it tested. But is it mold? More than likely. Is it lead-based paint? More than likely. Don't eat the chips. It's simple things like that. And, I'm straight to the point too. Like, I don't BS around. I'm not here to play games. I'm not here there's no money incentive other than what I'm charging. So I have no skin, no thing, no interest in any of the property. You buy it, you buy it. You don't, you don't. It's as simple as that for me.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. You're a very useful resource. You're like all in one, right? Yeah.
I can, yeah. I do a lot of different things just to make sure people know what they're getting into. I've just watched too many people get into such messes that I can't stand watching it anymore. I really just can't. Drives me nuts.
So we personally work with Steve on the regular within our own business. We send him out to a ton of houses that we're just not able to walk. So Anastasia, do you want to give your quick background here?
Yeah, I'm Anastasia Gamino. I live in Indianapolis and I'm a local investor. I have a small rental portfolio of around 9 units. And then my husband and I also flip houses.
Nice. All right, Patrick, do you want to introduce yourself there?
Sure, happy to. Patrick in Noblesville, even smaller local investor, have 3 units, looking to grow and expand.
It's all
Love
relative, Patrick, right? To some
is,
people, you're
yes.
the boss. And then you look at people like Nick and you feel like a little.
Exactly.
Don't do that.
Oh, no, but it's all relative, right? Like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
3 units
it
is
is.
awesome. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So.
How many people would kill to have 3 units? That. Yeah, you're crushing it, and you're on the warpath here. And then Ken, do you want to introduce yourself real quick? No, that's all right. I get shy too.
Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Hi, sorry, I'm off the street. My name is Ken. I also have 2 units. I recently just purchased the third one, so I'm learning as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I think that's why we're all here. I'm not mean to do that, guys. I'm gonna figure out all this tech stuff here for the new office, the water bowl here, one of these days. But until then, there will be some technical snafus. But I definitely want the background. So, Ulyana, I think you had a deal that you wanted to potentially look at here as a group. Guys, just as a reminder, we have kind of a rule here that we don't steal each other's deals. So don't, Ulyana will kind of pull it up. We're just not going to look to steal this one from her when she presents the data. Okay.
I'm not moving forward with it as of now.
Oh,
I just want to
okay.
get your feedback, like how to read these
Well, then Patrick's
inspection
definitely going to
reports
come take it.
going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's,
And just a
why
minute,
don't you pull it up, share your screen?
Okay, let me introduce myself as well. So I'm out of state investor. I live in Long Island, New York, and Indianapolis. I have rentals in Raleigh, North Carolina, but I'm moving to Indianapolis, which is completely new market for me. I pretty much have built my team of realtor, contractors, lenders as well. So I'm ready. I'm actively looking at multiple properties every day.
Yeah.
So I'm itching to buy something. Okay, so let me share my screen. Do you want to see the report first or the pictures?
Why
Let's
don't
look at the
we look
pictures
at
first.
the photos first? Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this is the exterior of the house.
All right. So I'll tell you, actually, can you go back to that first photo? I think there's some immediate things that you can pick up on that this house may be livable, but it probably hasn't gotten much love. The first thing I tend to see here is the siding is, has vegetation all over it. That's generally a sign that it's been neglected a little bit. The other thing that is a red flag for me whenever I look at a property, I'm personally not willing to own a property that doesn't have central air. Like I don't want a tenant that's willing to put up with not having AC or having a window unit. So that window unit there is an absolute red flag to me that you've got something that you need to have some thoughts about and potentially be budgeting for.
Okay, but from your experience, like all of these cheaper, like let's say what 120, 150 houses, older houses, 1930, 1950, do they have AC? Because I haven't seen any of the central one.
Very few will. But you probably and I'm open to being told I'm wrong here, guys. But my perspective is you probably don't want the tenants that are going to live in those houses in your house. Steve, what's your perspective? I know you kick people out of properties all the time.
Yeah, I do. It's a crapshoot, to be honest with you. So I guess, and you have to excuse me. What was the direct question though?
Uh, Properties that are in the 120 to 130 don't tend to have central AC. What's your perspective on that?
No, they actually do. They've been put in over the years. Whether they've done correctly or not, it's a whole other story in itself. But a lot of them will carry them. There are some out there that have just strictly window units, and nobody's ever wanted to add them in. A lot of property management companies advise their clients to start putting in AC units, but it's all based on square footage too. So if you got a small square footage, let's say 600, 700 square foot house, you may not need an AC unit. Those window units are very powerful nowadays. So
Yeah. And Anastasia was indicating that in her units, she always puts them in if they don't have AC.
Always.
The
I always
window ones? What about those split units?
Central.
Oh, central.
I always
Central,
put
right?
central air.
Anastasia?
Yeah, I always put central air. Just because, like Nick was saying, it adds value to the property. So if you're refinancing, I think that helps. But also, yeah, think about the tenants that would live there. I mean, I don't technically see like many splits typically, other than like when I'm in Mexico or other places. But you could do like mini splits. But I think it's worth just
Mhm.
putting in central air, especially if it already has ductwork. If it already has heat, if it doesn't have ductwork, that might make it more challenging. Like if you see like the floorboard heat, that's a
Yeah.
whole new world because you got to now put in ductwork. I'm not a contractor, but
It gets
Yeah.
more expensive.
It
Yeah,
does,
yeah.
and but there is a way around that, guys. Like if we find a room, or there's enough room in a house, we can build a closet where the furnace can go in, and we can go through the attic and put ceiling vents in versus floor ceilings or floor vents.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's keep moving.
Um,
Oh, the other thing I'll just note here is the big ramp. That's odd. We've had to rip those out before.
handicap access.
So yeah.
Usually that's what that means. The previous owner had some handicap issues that they needed to have that ramp put in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you would just rip it out?
You could,
Yeah.
it's all based on what you
Depends how
really
bad
want
those stairs
for the
are.
property.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on those
Okay.
stairs too, if you want to repair them, because they could be beat
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, so here's what I'll chime in on that, guys. As a contractor, if I'm doing something like that for Nick or myself, I'm gonna look at that as a hazard in the wintertime. Like
Mm.
it's gonna get slippery, it's gonna get icy. Somebody falls on that, and that's just a lawsuit waiting to happen. So um I don't even know that I would ask you about it. I think I would just rip it out.
Probably.
I would just rip it out because you got to look at these, at the liability of things sometimes. And that to me is just a huge liability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense totally. Okay, do you want to move on to interior pictures?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
But it's not terribly surprising that we're seeing the window units. Okay. I mean, we've seen uglier.
That's it. That's it.
I mean, it looks like a low end rental.
Yeah, it is. It is tenant occupied. Um, However, on the inspection report, like it has so many issues. Like if everything needs to be evaluated and repaired by a licensed contractor, roof, foundation. Um, I don't know how we want to approach this, like by section.
Let's look at the big things.
Okay. So like for example, roof. Improperly
Yeah. Do we have
exposed
any
and water
photos of the
damaged
roof?
roof. No. These are all the photos that I was shared.
So the inspector didn't take any photos?
Oh, you mean in the report? Probably
Yeah.
yes. Oh yeah. Yeah, right.
I was gonna say you need to fire that inspector.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would be uncommon for Cornerstone not to have photos.
It stated that there were some leaks. So I don't
Yeah.
know. That can be evaluated.
What's your perspective based
Well,
on what you're seeing there?
I mean, it looks like a lot of the asphalt's gone on those tiles, so it's probably, the right the correct thing to do is to change the roof, but there are things you can do to fix the leaks and prolong that change until you can make some money off the property.
Hmm.
So
So
if it's a hole,
yeah.
if it's a hole.
Well, I
Mhm.
think that's the objective of this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, then about this siding, like, so you said it has some vegetation on it. So does it mean it can be just pressure washed or it needs to be replaced?
No, you can pressure wash. You can pressure wash the siding. Um, and that looks like vinyl siding to me. So even if it's coming off, there's ways to fix it. Um,
Just
there's
replace these like
vinyl siding.
little panels?
Yeah, so vinyl siding comes in panels, and it comes in various colors. Just you'll just need to understand, like when we change those, we're putting a new section, a new panel on, so the sun hasn't beat it up for so many years. So the colors are
The
going to be
same shape.
different, even
Yeah.
if we're putting white on white. You know,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um, so then the other thing that like really turned me off from this deal was the foundational issues. Um, so unsecured support columns at the basement. It was saying that like
so
it's the main column that supports the whole house and it needs to be evaluated by engineer.
so do we have pictures of those?
I think so.
So I want you to think about inspectors. They are chicken little. Anything little is wrong with the house, and Steve kind of talked about this earlier. Anything that's even slightly wrong with the house, they're like with the foundation, with the roof, they're going to flag it and they're going to make it sound like it's the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why
yes.
I put this here. Dock
You have to
floor.
understand that they're going to word these things. They're like meanie lawyers. They're going to word it to make sure that it never comes back up. You know? Did you like that, Steve?
I do. That was good. I like that. I got to remember that one.
They're going to word stuff that that it makes sure that there's no way it can come back on them. So, by the sounds of what you're saying, when it comes to the main support, it could be just as simple as putting
Screws.
well, not that. You can put the bars down to where you can extend them and hold up the house and the jacks, I should say, and screw them to the ground and lift the house up. Now, when you do those, realistically, you will never get that house level with those with jacks, but it will stop it um, from moving, from sagging any longer. So at the end of the day, it could be just a matter of two jacks at $1,000 just to get them installed and put in.
Okay. Okay. And what about this grading? So same foundational part, the build.
Every house you are going to look at in Indianapolis is they're going to call out the grading. That I don't know that I haven't seen one report except for the house that you just bought.
Oh yes, cleanest inspection of all time.
Yeah, I need to take that guy out to dinner.
Yeah.
But every house is going to have a grading problem. You know, people put at the end of the day, you know, people put mulch, they put flower beds, they dig stuff out, and it's going to, you know, push that dirt either away from the house and it's going to have a levee and so forth. Most of the time, if you just take care of your gutters, you will have um you won't have water coming intruding in the basement. Um a- and here's some food for thought. Like we all have to understand that when you're buying a house that's built in the 1900s, um, it's old. You may get a little bit of water in the basement because they just didn't have um, when they dig new foundations today, um, they put tubes and stuff around the house, which push that water away from that foundation. They didn't have that back then.
Mm.
So I don't know a house that in the early 1900s that hasn't had some water coming through. Steve, you've walked way more houses than I have, I think, at that age, just because you're older than I am. Um, I'm just kidding. Um,
Sad
what are your
face for
thoughts
you,
on that?
my
Hey,
thoughts
I
are
carry a lot of 'em.
the uh the basement foundations are built up of anything from brick to dirt to block to um uh, I'm missing to even timber, wood, you know, that kind of stuff. These things have been fabricated. It's 100+ years old home, right? So they've been fabricated to keep most of the water out. There are ways of doing it nowadays, but yes, I mean, I completely agree with, you know, the gutters and stuff like that. Are you going to get the water out of these basements completely? You're not, because they're always going to, like, the amount of rain that we had just within the past 48 hours was monsoon type water out here, right? So if somebody doesn't have it in their basement, I'd be shocked. You know, there's always going to be something. What you want is to eliminate most of it. And if you're going to have a rental property, what you let your tenants know is you let them know there's water going to be in the basement and they need to put their stuff on skids. Okay. Or they need to put it on some sort of level that's at least an inch or a foot higher than the floor. That's how you also do your mechanicals too down there. But in all the houses I've walked, there's always been some issue. I can find mold. I can find something that has given indication of some sort of water intrusion at some point in time. Unless the basement was just recently done and sealed, then maybe not. But for the most part, I find it all the time in the 1900 built homes. It just is part of it's just part of it. This is what it is.
Okay.
So yeah,
And
I would
basically
be concerned about water.
so basically the solution to it would be to put the gutters and to seal the basement.
Could do
Yeah,
that or
that's
do the grading, right?
Or some combination of the three.
of the three. Yeah, and I mean, again, grading to me, like what I hate it when I just hate it when they put that on on these reports. Um, yeah, I mean, you can do you could do plenty of things besides the grading to try to make sure that water doesn't come in.
French drain.
Absolutely.
I've done that in the house. That was a
Yep.
mess.
Doing that in the house right now, today.
Actually, we're doing it on the outside.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, mine was done on the inside, and it was a catastrophe. I was
Yeah.
not happy.
So on the outside, this particular home, it sits so close into another house that I'm just trying to get that water from going into the dirt. I literally have like 2.5 feet of room in between the two places. So I'm just trying to make sure that that water falls right into that drain and shoots straight out onto the street or the alleyway.
Yeah.
So it keeps it away from going down into the house.
Do we want to look at the foundation stuff?
I don't think I saw those photos because it was the duct work, cooling, heating.
They didn't have anything about the unsupported beam. They didn't have a photo of that.
I didn't find
Oh,
it.
well,
That electrical it would need to be replaced fully, right?
I didn't. What did it say?
I didn't get to see it either.
Oh, the electrical.
Yeah. Does it say
Oh, the
anything about
normal.
knob and tube?
Knob and tube, my favorite. I just like saying knob and tube.
Oh,
I'm not sure now.
we like it because it buys bourbon for us.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. So it looks like updated. What's that right there? Is that knob and tube? Fallen?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. So it looks like a mess, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean it's not grounded. I'm gonna probably say that it's not. So you would have to ground the panel, and hopefully all of those wires are connecting to knob and tube somewhere.
Okay. And what does it mean for me?
If it's if it's knob and tube, then you just need to change it out.
Mhm. Okay.
A full rewire.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of rehab for this house. Like if you want to do everything properly. Okay,
Well,
I got the
Nick's
foundation
taught me,
walls.
every house has a price.
Every house has a surprise.
Yep,
Yeah.
every house has a price.
How-
Is what's Nick's taught me.
What's the price tag on the surprise?
So we don't have enough information to come up with a price. We
Not
would need
what
to
she's
understand
asking.
what.
I see the price. I know. I'm looking at it right now. It's not what she's asking. Way over
It's not 120.
No, it's not 98.
So
Been on
I mean,
market for
realistically,
125 days.
Yeah. So realistically, the way I would approach this is I would do a lot of research. I would try to understand what the after repair value is, because this is like the amount of work that needs to be done here is you could probably get it to a safe rent ready condition for a reasonable price, but you're approaching more of a rehab in that scenario. So I'd go figure out what that ARV is, subtract out whatever the rehab was going to cost, subtract out whatever profit I would feel I needed to take on in order to take on that rehab, and then that's what I would be willing to offer.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
There's-
So
There's the
realistically,
unsupported
a lot of
walls.
people approach. I think a lot of people approach making their offers in a completely backwards way. they look at what people are asking for and they think that that's a relevant metric. It's not. It actually is a completely irrelevant number. The relevant number is what it's going to be worth on the back end, how much it's going to cost to get you there, and how much profit you need. And so a lot of times we won't make offers because the asking price and what we can offer are too far apart. But so many people start with the asking price and then build up from there. We take a very different approach. And I think that that's the right way for us investors to be looking at it.
What do you consider a big difference between asking price and your offer? Like to the point that you don't make an offer?
10%.
Oh,
10% starts to get to
it's
the
more
point that
than
it seems
10%.
unlikely.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, with our team, we analyze at least 1 to 3 deals every single morning. We have somebody present deals, and we build out an SOW. We build in our profit, and if it's more than 15%, we just don't even say anything. If it's kind of 15 to 5%, then we will of a discount required. Then we'll have a conversation, and if it's 5 to 0%, we're like, all right, we'll walk it. We're close enough that we can probably make something happen. Hey, Flora. All right,
Just a
good
quick,
analysis there.
a follow-up question on the property we were just looking at. I looked it up too, saw where it was. Those that are local know that area is Hallville. Just curious, Nick, Steve, others' perspectives on that area, B, C, D location.
C minus. What do you think, Steve?
I'll be blunt. That street, it's a bad street. Period. It's
Yeah.
a bad street. That section, that 700 block. I wouldn't put a rental down there. I wouldn't buy a rental down there. That is one of the few streets I don't even like going down because
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. And Ulyana, being from remote, might not know.
Sure, the streets on the other sides are fine, but King Street for some apparent reason is just, I don't know why. Maybe it's too much Section 8 people over there, and that's nothing against Section 8 people in general, but sometimes when you put too much ruffians around the same area, it gets really bad over in that section. And the 700 block of King has always been that way, and it hasn't changed in the 12 years I've been running around. Hallville has changed, but that section right there has just always been the same. That's why another reason that's not worth the 98,000 they're asking for.
Well, Ulyana, what do you think it's renting for right
now? So I would rent it to Section 8 actually. No, they pay more.
But you said it's already rent, right?
Oh, the current tenant, what they are paying?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll check that. I have that information.
That was 785. I think I saw, and it ends at the end of the month.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I don't think the tenant class you get when you're under $1,200, when you're under $1,400, it's just so much harder to manage. I mean, personally, I own several that are in the $800 to $1,200 range, and those are the units that I'm looking to offload and not have to deal with anymore. I kind of want more of those B class, just because even if the returns aren't as good on paper, the returns in real life tend to be a lot better.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot less you're going to have a lot less maintenance on those homes.
This was also an Alpine. If any of you are familiar with Alpine, I can tell you right now, the rehab is as generic as they possibly come. They're one of the companies that are out here that just do the poorest of rehabs, and they just slap it together, slap a tenant in there. They don't care whether they pay or don't. That's just how they operate. I can say that from personal experience.
All right. Well, we're glad you backed out of this one.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. Next.
Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We need a button for that.
Sound effects.
That's the only one that works on our board for some reason in Zoom. We have cheering and stuff too, but none of those end up playing through for whatever reason. Only the sad trombone.
That's awesome.
But yeah, What else do you guys want to talk about? Any other deals you guys want to review? What are you thinking about?
I've got one I could certainly share.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Appreciate that.
And again, steal it.
No worries. And actually, it's really just for feedback and learning because I just learned about an hour ago that it sold. So it's not available.
Here's what I'll tell you guys. The last week, I feel like something has shifted in the market in a very serious way. I had 2 houses that were sitting there for a little while and we weren't getting any tours really or anything. And then literally in the last week or so, both of them got multiple tours and got under contract. And in one of them cases got into a multiple bid situation. Do you mind zooming in a little bit? Our screen's a little small. And yeah, there we go.
Yeah. How's that?
All right. So you're looking to purchase it for 135. It needs 31 grand worth of work. You think it's worth 200 when it's all said and done. That is a solid deal there. All right, cool. All right. I think I understand your level.
You saw the big numbers down here at the bottom.
Okay. I mean, how often do you pass up 100% return on your money?
All the time.
Right. The other thing about this one too is it's possible midterm rental. It's 3 blocks from a large hospital. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I like that.
Plus, I like that.
What was that?
I like that 3 blocks from the hospital being in the MTR. I'm more of a fan of that.
Are you want? Yeah, I know. Steve. Oh no, we lost him. Yeah, Steve, I know how much you hate the short-term rental side.
I just do. But I'm telling you, if you get somebody in there for 3 months, that 4 months, I like that.
Yeah. I've got a couple up in Fishers that are crushing on the short-term rental side. Hey, Align, how you doing? No.
What's up, dude? Sorry, I'm getting
Hey.
a little late. So.
Dude, you're all good. I'm just sad that we didn't get to analyze that deal the entire way. He decided halfway through that we were all going to steal it from him and decided to hide the address.
Yeah.
Yeah. Align, you got any deals that people need to buy here?
Did Pat
deals
leave?
you want to present? We can all criticize here together.
I'm sorry. Did Pat leave?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he probably got disconnected. Patrick Brogan was just showing off a deal.
Oh, that Pat, of course. Yeah, the one that you guys were going over the spreadsheet. No, dude, right now I'm kind of dry. I lost an Anderson deal last week, and I might have something in Terre Haute coming up, but it's not going to be anything stellar.
I'm not going to Terre Haute.
What'd you say, Steve?
I'm not going to Terre Haute.
No, you are. You are going to Terre Haute.
I'm going to the new casino then.
Fair enough, dude. I'll pay for some gambling.
The entire fee there, the consulting fee is going to go towards the blackjack table.
Yeah. I don't really know what's
$600.
Yeah. I don't really know what's Terre Haute that you want, but
Why do you think he's selling it?
oh.
Let me share. Let's see.
Holly something. See Ulyana say something.
That's just replied to Lauren.
Oh, gotcha.
So get back to the basements real quick. I own a rental property, and every time it would rain, all the water from both sides of the street would go into my rental property, and I get a half basement full of water all the time. And the funny thing is,
I'm going to show you guys.
The tenants did not care. They put the furnace up, the water heater up. Tenants didn't care.
Dude, that's awesome.
For anybody who doesn't know, it's been raining a lot recently. And we've been getting a lot of maintenance calls here the last couple of days for people. We do maintenance for a lot of people, a lot of property managers. And this is one we walked into the other day where that has to be like 2 feet of water, right?
Yep, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swimming
2
pool.
or 3, maybe.
Yeah. So, now you don't
Is that
want
a
district
sump
water
pump
in your
back
basement.
there? That's a sump pump,
There's
isn't
no
it?
power. There's no power in this house.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's
that
no,
explains things. Okay, I'm
no
like, well, that's the
power.
shittiest sump pump ever.
Yeah.
And you know, I will tell you, Line, that's it rains so much that I don't know how sump pumps have really kept up.
Yeah.
We've really had a lot of rain.
Yeah.
I told Nick
Yeah.
this morning I didn't know if I would take the truck or the boat to work.
A lot of people were thinking that.
Yeah.
Do I think
Patrick,
this is the wettest season in Indianapolis? I would say that this is the wettest season since I've lived here.
it's not. I mean, it's been worse than this. There's I believe in early 2000s, we had a pretty wet one. Pretty wet one here. So
Back in around 2016, there was a heavy one too.
Yep.
16, 17.
Yep, it flooded kind of Fortville. It kind of pushed Fortville. It just flooded Fortville real crazy. But you know, this happens. I mean, tomorrow or Monday's going to be like 90 degrees, so we're going to be just fine.
And we'll get all the mosquitoes.
Yep, for sure. Patrick, welcome back.
Is it really already going to be that warm up in Indy?
Yeah, 80s. Call them for 80s
Sure.
next.
You're all the way in Rio de Janeiro.
Actually,
Yeah,
no.
Well, it's 80
Unfortunately, I'm
all the
not
time,
based-
isn't it?
Huh?
80 all the time there, isn't it?
If not more, at least in Rio it is. Where I'm at right now, it's not Rio, but I mean, it's a little steamy, just not unbearable. And the thing about down here, like apartments might have AC units, but they're usually like in a bedroom. They're not like in the whole apartment. So if I'm working out in like the living room, it can be pretty toasty during the day.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
So you don't get any like there's no put a fan out to get that wind blowing through there or anything?
I mean, there is a fan and like that's the window I'm next to. I'll sometimes set up a fan, but like at the end of the day, if it's super hot, it's just not the same. I do have an Airbnb or sorry, a co-working spot though that I'll go to from time to time and they have AC units there. So that helps a lot. Cause if not, I'm just,
All right, Patrick, do you want to pull that deal up one more time? I know we were we were taking a look at the analysis. Did you want to look at the
Sure.
photos or anything and let Paul tell you how crazy you are to like $30,000?
Yeah, let me
walked
just
into a house for $1,000 recently.
let me just I tell you the address. I mean, I don't have photos other than what's on the Zillow.
I don't think
Actually,
seen
no,
a
this one's not
$30,000
on Zillow. I
website
apologize.
thing.
what's the address though?
Sorry, I do
I'll lie,
have
you know,
a sheet on
those are
this.
6 skill deals.
So, Line, are you back on
Deals going on.
texting?
What'd you say, Nick?
Are you back on texting?
No, I don't think I'm gonna get back on texting to be honest.
Yeah. So,
I'm a little
if you-
scared from lawsuits
for-
and regulations and all that.
yeah, for those who aren't aware, are you willing to share a little bit about why you're making that change?
For a couple reasons. So I'm currently part of like a wholesaling like 4-week masterclass. I might be like revamping business in general and just figuring out how to move forward with things. And there's a lot of students in this class that have been getting sued for texting. So a lot of new regulations have been coming out regarding texting and how you can text. What I used to do is as a wholesaler, just similar to direct mail, where you pull a list and you send mailers to certain individuals that might be looking to sell a home. I was doing that, but with texting, and one can no longer blanket text without running into legal issues. So at this point, if you are to text people, it has to be an opt-in. So you have to get sellers to opt in some form, either online or somewhere else in order to do so. If not, then you can most definitely get sued for texting people. On top of that, the cables have made it more difficult as well for texting to go out. So as far as deliverabilities and effectiveness, it probably doesn't even make sense just from that point of view. I'm sure a lot of you guys that might have gotten texts in the past are no longer receiving them, or maybe the volume has significantly
Fewer.
dropped.
Fewer.
I still get them. I laugh at them.
Steve, there's a lawsuit, dude. Forget consulting, dude. Just professionally sue.
Yeah,
Nick,
I
I got that. I got that
Tell
ready
me
to
one
share.
of the
if you
local
want.
guys- One of the local guys here was texting me constantly, and he didn't even realize it was me, man. I chewed him out bad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you.
I keep getting mail from Simple Quarters.
It's
I don't know. I have no words for that.
Nick, I do have some more stuff to share on that one now if you want.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We got a couple more
Alright.
minutes before
Okay,
Paul's
cool.
got a date.
So do you.
ooh, Paul. I'm gonna hear about this later.
This is the
All right.
property here.
So
It's in
16th Street.
Indianapolis. Yep. Right near
Oh,
Community
fuck,
Hospital
16th
East,
Street.
if you know. It's,
573
It wasn't
16th.
yeah, it's off market.
Okay.
See some of the
Or two.
Zip code.
see some of the pictures here.
Okay, brick facade. That's good. Kind of
Yep.
facade. Roof looks all right, maybe.
That AC looks okay.
Yeah, that actually looks not too bad.
Kitchen's not too bad.
Maybe change out the
yeah.
stove.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
the stove's old and
some of the flooring looks like it's been done. Some of it's carpet that doesn't look so good, but when it's certainly not rough. The bathroom.
No, that's not bad at all.
furnace.
It's got
How's that
two
furnace look?
bathrooms.
I can't tell.
It's probably like halfway through its life. That Bryan furnace doesn't look too bad, I suppose.
Actually, I
maybe-
think it said
The what?
2021 furnace. I believe it said.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's that. And the Ameristar
Somebody's in the
outside.
smoker.
And here's the other bathroom again. It's not super rough. Might need a little update, but
Yeah.
Honestly, this thing's looks pretty rent ready based
It
on the
does.
photos.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
around red.
yeah, here's
Ooh. Wait.
Go back up.
Go back to that electrical panel.
Never
Oh,
skip on
okay.
the electrical panel.
People love to move past that.
Is that 100?
Yeah. I mean, it's old, but it might be
Oh.
grounded.
And it's a 3.2, right?
it's a 4-2
Or
Or
two.
4.2. Okay.
with a 2-car garage on a crawl space. Built in 1960.
So here's what I'll say. When I look at a house like this, I almost say it's not ugly enough to do much in the way of rehab.
I kind of thought that the
Um,
rehab. I only had 30,000 on the rehab. It's just cosmetic ish. It looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, can you speak on that? You should be able to get away with less than 30K for that.
Oh, you are asking the wrong guy.
Paul's like 30. That's more
Uh,
like 50.
Yeah, I mean, for a rental ready, yeah, I think you could be around that. I
If
know
not,
you-
maybe a little less,
Yeah.
depending on what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, it looks like a clean up, a good paint job, and
Yeah.
if you're gonna
Yeah.
rent it. If you were gonna Airbnb it, on the other hand, that's a totally different story.
And the
That
comps
is nowhere.
show 200.
Yeah, Prick's estimate
Well,
shows 202.
Let's see what your comps look like.
Yeah.
Because, like, and this is the part that always frustrates me when talking to people when they say, yeah, the comps around it are 200 when they're fixed up. It's like, all right, great. But that's all new flooring everywhere. It's
Yeah.
2 new bathrooms, a brand new, like,
It's usually $60,000 or $70,000 worth of work. before he gets to that ARV.
Yeah,
That's
depending. Like, and
Yeah.
again, we haven't seen these particular comps on the back end, so they very well could be lived in comps, and that would
Yeah.
be totally fine.
Yeah, and I don't have those readily available here to share.
Okay.
You know, for what it's worth, the Zillow estimate is 202, I think, on this property.
I don't know that I would trust. See,
Yeah,
so
it's just a data point. Yeah.
yeah, it's just dangerous to do that.
I can pull them up, perhaps. Let me see.
Yeah.
Say 4 bedrooms.
I'm going to chime in here and just say that the ARV value for this area and this location, you're probably looking in the ballpark around, I'd put it around 175 to 185. I think 202 is excessive for this area. So I think you'd be safe at that 185 mark just to go top value.
That makes sense. I know the area. Actually grew up
Yeah.
about a mile from this house.
It's not a bad area, you know,
Yeah.
but I really think the ARV value for that would be around 185. And could you get away with the $30,000 rehab on this and get that 185? Maybe.
Probably, maybe.
And it's a
Maybe.
crapshoot in this market. And like Nick was saying earlier, things have been kind of moving along quicker now. Might be able to pull it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the midterm
turn
rental is how possible that is, right? You know, 3 blocks from the hospital. That I don't know if there's, you know, traveling nursing situations or not.
You'll always
So,
have
so
it.
Paul, why don't you?
The closer to the hospital, but
Yeah. So I'll let me shed some light on that. When it comes to a midterm rental or an Airbnb, by looking at those pictures, I'm going to be closer to like 60. Just trying to get that house all cleaned up and get it ready. You know, as someone who's married to
A traveling nurse?
traveling nurse, the most important thing is safe. That's
Yes.
the number one. Quality of what's there. Accessibility to the to her place of work or restaurants and so forth. As far as like the making sure everything is good, like you're on the construction side, as your electrical, your plumbing not having issues and so forth. But as far as from somebody that's married to one, that's what I would look. That's what I would want my wife to be in.
Yeah. We've uh I've seen multiple guests give up on proximity for quality and safety multiple times. Like my places in Fishers have been consistently rented despite that. And we've had people who have gone to a lot of the places that are a whole lot closer and then decide, hey, like, a day into their booking to switch to the spot in Fishers, which is not even remotely convenient for most hospitals. So could you do it? Absolutely down there. These nurses, like the number of midterm rentals is blowing up right now, in the same way that Airbnbs were blowing up a while ago. So you can't just slap some paint on it and call it a day anymore with midterm rentals. They're able to be discerning in a way that they weren't 6 months, a year, 2 years ago before Bigger Pockets decided to write their book on it.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm glad I got one out of it.
I like that take on that. So I have to agree with all that.
No.
Good feedback. I
That
appreciate it.
said, yeah. I mean, you need to treat a midterm rental like it's an Airbnb, because that's what, like, and transparently, if you're doing a midterm rental and you're not on a short term rental site as well, you're probably doing it wrong. You want to fill those gaps as much as humanly possible, and so all of our short term rentals are also midterm rentals, but you prioritize differently. You open dates differently depending on what you're optimizing for in those situations. So treat it like it's a short term rental, and that place, I swear, will be booked constantly if you treat it like it's not just some like second class citizen type of product versus a flip Airbnb. All right, guys, I gotta run. We've got dates tonight that our wives are way better looking, so we can't be late. But appreciate you guys, and we will talk to you guys all here in 2 weeks. All right, and Align, I owe you a call next week. Okay,
Yeah, let's chat this coming week. We'll get together.
sounds good. All right,
All
talk
right,
to you guys all
everyone.
later. Bye now.
Happy
Thanks,
Friday. Have a good
everyone.
weekend.